Well, hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Hockey Cards Gongshow podcast. It is Sunday night, January 15th, 2023, when we're recording. My name is Josh. I'm here with Troy. It's been a day, Troy, huh?
It has been a day. We were getting set. We were ready to record, and then I got the bat signal phone call from my wife, who was skiing with my son and a friend. She was in the ski patrol tent, and she messed up her knee. So I had to go get her, run her to the orthopedic urgent care, a whole bunch of stuff. Josh had to take me back to get her car. Oh, we got it all figured out. Now we're ready to record. So we're about 5 hours delayed from when we were originally going to record, but all good now. She's situated in bed, MRI getting scheduled, all that fun stuff.
Your wife went skiing and then ended up with a snowmobile ride.
Yeah, she did. She got a free ride down the... Now, when I say mountain, it's not a mountain. We're in Minnesota. These are very small hills, bumps. They're nothing like a mountain. But right now they think she definitely has a small shin fracture and probably a torn meniscus. So a little recovery period for her, but everything's good right now. She's in bed, elevated leg, ready to go.
I think I know somebody who's going to be doing some extra work around the house.
Lots of housework, lots of stuff I got to do. Keep the house in tip-top shape.
All right. Well, that was an adventure. We're here 6 hours later than planned, but we're just glad your wife is okay. Wish her, of course, a speedy recovery. Before we get going on today's show, want to remind everyone that the Hockey Cards Gongshow podcast is a Patreon podcast. That means we rely on you, the listener, to help cover our expenses and help us to continue to produce more and hopefully better hockey card content and fund initiatives even in a small way to help grow the hockey hobby. Right now, you can join and take part of our out of 99 support level tier, be one of the first ever 99 supporters of the Hockey Cards Gongshow podcast via Patreon. You also get exclusive access to our Hockey Cards Gongshow Discord server and chat with us on the regular, participate as an insider on the show. It's very easy to do, Troy. All you got to do is go to the Patreon website, patreon.com, search for Hockey Cards Gongshow, or you can visit the link in the show description for whatever podcast app you're listening to us on now. And finally, there's a link in our link tree, which you can find in our social media profiles on Instagram and TikTok. Since our last show, Troy, we do have a couple of new patrons and want to give them a shout out and thank them. First is Trey. Thank you very much for supporting our show. And little plug for him is you can follow him on Instagram. It's Trey. So 3 trays. He's also a casual whatnot breaker, so be sure to check him out there. Also, thank you to Philadelphia Flyagram. And he asked us to do a little shout out where if you can look him up on Instagram, Troy, he's obviously a Flyers collector, a 2019-20 O-Pee-Chee Platinum Claude Giroux, Orange Checkers, or Golden Treasures. And so if you guys have those cards, be sure to contact him if you're willing to do a deal. That's not a bad way to use your plug, huh?
Oh, took your shot. Let's see if we can get some people that have that card and get in touch with him. And another thing on the Trey, just to remind everyone, it's Trey is how you spell Trey, in case anyone didn't know that. But I love the name. I want to know the genesis behind Trey.
That's a good one. Maybe he'll tell us in the Discord server. And yeah, let's get that Philadelphia Flyagram. It's Philadelphia Flya, Flyagram. Let's get him his Claude Giroux cards. All right, Troy, you want to give us a game plan?
Definitely. On today's show, we begin by looking at the greatest NHL player to wear number 48. Then it's off to movers and shakers, followed by hobby news. We then have a great interview with Upper Deck's Billy Celio, where we touch on a variety of topics, including the recent release of 2021-22 Skybox Metal Hockey. We end the show with a quick new product release segment. Could we have another set dropping in January? Maybe. Stay tuned. All right, let's get going. All right, we are on episode number 48. So hockey's most famous number 48 per the Hockey Writer's Greatest Player to Wear number 48 article is Scott Young. Josh, let's ask you, do you know who Scott Young is?
No.
Okay.
I have a question. Okay. Or
yes.
I don't know if it's a question for you, but maybe a question for me. And I'm not being negative here. I like that we do this. It's actually kind of fun to learn about people that you've never heard of before. It does give me a little crisis of confidence that apparently I'm on a Hockey Cards podcast and I've never heard of anybody. But so here's my question. Okay. If you had just started listening to our show in the last 10 weeks or so, would you think that any good players have ever played in the NHL?
Good question. We've had a couple that we went through, and we'll get to some.
The 40s have been rough, dude.
Yeah, 40s have been rough. I will say I did know who Scott Young was. I'll get into this, but if you watch any 2000, mid-2000 USA hockey, like the Olympic team or whatever they put together, this was a name that was on there a lot. So I did know who Scott Young was.
And the only other thing I'd tell you is you did something new. You kind of put a picture of the front and back of one of his hockey cards on the show notes here. And just for the fact that it's a pretty sweet photo, and he's got the Hartford Whalers sweater on. I automatically like him, even though I know nothing about him.
Yeah, that's kind of why I put it in there. I wanted to talk about it.
All right, there you go.
All right, we'll get to all that. Josh, we'll get to it. We'll get to it. He was a right winger. He played 1,181 regular season games over a 17-year NHL career. As Josh kind of mentioned, he started his career with the Hartford Whalers, then had a short stint with Pittsburgh, followed by stops in Quebec/Colorado, Anaheim, who then was known as the Mighty Ducks of Anaheim. I'm always going to plug that because I love that name. St. Louis and Dallas. For his awards and accomplishments, he is a 2-time Stanley Cup winner. This pains me to say. 1990-91 with Pittsburgh. That's all we'll say about that. And 1995-96 with Colorado. He has no individual NHL hardware, the big accolades. However, he was inducted into the U.S. Hockey Hall of Fame in 2017. So right by Josh's hometown is the Hockey Hall of Fame in Eveleth, Minnesota.
Minnesota.
Yep, and he is enshrined.
So you said no individual awards. He didn't win like a golden spoon or anything. That's really
none that I could find. No made-up awards that now the NHL doesn't track anymore. No. I couldn't find anything. He was running, or he was not runner-up, but he was in a couple of the voting, like 48th in one and like 19th in another award. I can't remember what the awards were, but nothing to mention.
48th in an award?
Yeah.
So, come on.
Right.
Wait a minute. That's insulting. It's like, tell me if I was in the top 3, but I just feel like you're trying to hurt my feelings. If you're like, hey man, it was so close. You came in 48th. We were really rooting for you.
It was 42nd in the Lady Bing Award voting.
Oh,
so, but you're Lady Bing, so you gotta, just take it with grace, right? Because that's what that word's all about. All right, his regular season stats: 342 goals, 415 assists for 757 points, which puts him at a 0.64 points per game average. He made the playoffs in 14 of his 17 seasons in the NHL. 141 games played, 44 goals, 43 assists for 87 points. Young's best individual season was the 2000-2001 season with St. Louis, where he had 40 goals and 33 assists for 73 points. So this is a guy who had a 40-goal season.
Yeah, he's like Kevin Fiala of the 90s, right?
This guy, I shouldn't say this guy, Scott Young, he was definitely one of those guys that produced every year. He never had 100 points, but he always was in that mid-tier, anywhere from 30, 50, 70 points the big season, 40 points. Just always in that. He got his points, good player. He did have a brief hiatus. This is like the second guy in a row that did a hiatus of his NHL career during the 1991-92 season, where he played the majority of the time in Italy.
What happened?
Don't know. I tried to find anything that said why he went to Italy, and I couldn't. So
was it gambling like Michael Jordan or something like that? He had to take a year
suspension. Off? I couldn't find anything on why he went to Italy, but maybe someone out there knows or can point me to an article, because I'd love to know the reason why. After his retirement, he remained active in hockey, coaching high school hockey, college hockey, and then becoming the director of player development for the Penguins in 2017. In 2022, he was hired away by the Canucks to be their director of player personnel. Now, my interesting fact, because I couldn't find any fun stuff, I'm not sure if he's still with the Canucks front office. I went to their website. I couldn't find him anywhere. I tried to find anything that said he'd been let go. And Vancouver is such a mess that maybe he just disappeared. I don't know. I couldn't find anything that he's still there.
He's not back in Italy, is he?
I hope not. Maybe someone knows. Direct me to the right location, because I couldn't even find him on the website. But maybe I'm the bonehead that completely missed it.
For the record, Scott Young does not have a gambling addiction.
He does not. We're just making that up. All right, his rookie card, 1989-90 O-Pee-Chee, number 209. PSA pop of this whole card, the whole graded population of this card is 11, with 6 10s and 5 9s. The BGS total population graded of this card is a pop 2, with two 9.5s. So there you go. High grades. If you want a graded card, the only copies by PSA and BGS are going to be high grade. The most recent comp I could find for the PSA 10 was $41 via eBay in July of 2021. No BGS comps, and raw, you can find this card anywhere, 99 cents, $2, depends on shipping. Pretty rare. The raw version you can find everywhere. The graded copies are obviously super rare, and if you do find one, it's probably not going to break the bank.
Do you think I've heard of number 49?
No, but maybe 50. 49 maybe. 49 maybe. I think 50 you've heard of. 50 for sure you've heard of.
Okay. All right. Well, 50 is a big show, too, so I'm glad I've heard of him. All right, Troy, an amazing job, as always. We're going to move on to movers and shakers, but before we do, just want to give a quick reminder and shout out to our friend and show sponsor and partners, Stand Up Displays. Go ahead to their website at standupdisplays.co. They've got amazing card stands that you can use to display your cards at home in your case or something like that, or if you want to take photos or awesome photos for Facebook or Instagram. They make those so much better and can communicate your brand or kind of spice up your photos a little bit. They've got a fantastic newer product called Direct Print, where you just send them your logo, brand, or any image that you want printed on your card stand, and they get it done pretty quickly. If you don't want a custom stand, Troy, they have some pre-made ones for McDavid, Ovi, Crosby, and some City ones as well. Best news of all is if you use the promo code GONGSHOW, GONGSHOW, at checkout, you can save 10% off your order. So again, go to standupdisplays.co and check out their stands and custom options. Also give them a follow on Instagram to stay up to date on their latest promotions, offers, new products. They show a lot of stands or to give you some ideas and inspiration too. And Troy, you have a little project that you're doing with stand-up displays. You want to chat about that for a second?
Yeah, I do. So I have for a while, one thing I've wanted to do is get my own Pekka Rinne custom stand. So most people that have listened to this show, IPC Pekka Rinne, and I have just been wanting to have like a customized Pekka Rinne stand because I need to start displaying a lot more of my collection on our Instagram account or even my personal Instagram account that we talked about last week that is kind of just sitting there and not being used. But I decided I'm going to do kind of a customer journey. I have had Josh kind of work on a mock-up because he's really good at the artistic stuff, and so I have kind of a first draft of what the stand might look like. I'll probably give a little feedback, maybe one more iteration, and then I'm going to do the process and submit it and get it printed up, and then we will show it hopefully by next week's show. I'll have it hopefully if it's on me to get it in time, because the turnaround time is really quick by stand up. So
yeah, they're pretty awesome about that.
Yeah, it's on me when I submit it. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do a Pekka Rinne stand project.
Sweet. Can't wait to see that. All right. Let's move on to movers and shakers. As always, we're going to start with who's hot. First guy I want to talk about today, Troy, is Matthew, or better known as Matty Beniers. He's a 20-year-old Seattle Kraken rookie who's, over the last 2 weeks, is fourth in the NHL in points. During that span, he has 6 goals, 5 assists for 11 points in 8 games played. Not bad for a rookie. For the season, that brings him up to 17 goals, 19 assists, and 36 points in 42 games played. Again, not bad for a rookie. Kraken leads the Kraken, or Beniers, Kraken leads the Kraken. Beniers leads the Kraken in points, and has helped the second-year franchise look like a playoff team right now, Troy, midway through the season. I would say he's probably the top contender right now for the Calder Trophy. Would you agree with that?
I would agree with that.
One of the things, so I was reading about Matthew Beniers today, and a lot of articles talked about the fact that they held him back last year. That they kind of said, take another development year. And I guess I didn't remember that, or maybe wasn't aware of it. And I couldn't help but think to some parallels between how they have handled Matthew Beniers and your guy, Shane Wright. And maybe the whole Shane Wright press box tour could be beneficial in the long run, and maybe he shouldn't take it so personally, since they essentially did the same thing with Beniers. They sort of slow played his role out into the NHL versus where they didn't have that option with Shane Wright. So I just thought that was kind of interesting to look at, and maybe a roadmap that other teams might start to use to give guys a little bit extra development.
Maybe, just maybe, the Kraken know what they're doing.
From a hockey cards perspective, of course, Matthew Beniers is a 2022 Series 1 Young Gun. It's averaging right now, Troy, about $100 raw. There's been about 230 sales in the past 2 weeks, which is pretty strong. Just to give a point of context there, the Cole Caulfield in the same time span has 235 sales, so 230 to 235. So he's kind of right up there as far, and he's playing real well, of course. Not a huge surprise. At $100 raw, though, probably a good time to sell.
I was gonna say, I think I got like 2. I got 2 in my rookies box.
First guy, Matthew Beniers. Second, and who's hot, is Troy, Jack Campbell. Yes, you heard me right, Troy. Jack Campbell. And no, we haven't moved on to the struggle bus. We're still in who's hot. Hell hath frozen over, Troy. In his last 6 games, the 30-year-old Edmonton goaler has a 2.02 goals against average and a .915 save percentage. He's 4-1-1 in that span. We've talked about the Oilers a bunch, and just the fact that if they can get decent play out of their blue line and goalies, this team has, I think, a good shot, not just to make the playoffs, but maybe to do a little bit of damage. They're still holding on to that last wildcard spot in the Western Conference, but do have the 6-point lead over the Avalanche. So, yeah, I don't know. For the season, Campbell's stats are still pretty rough, though, Troy. 2022-23 season to date, he has a 3.43 goals against and a .883 save percentage in 22 games played. It also sounds like Stuart Skinner is missing some time right now for what they're calling personal reasons, so hopefully everything's okay with him. What that means, I think, for Campbell, though, is he might get some more playing time, as it seems like that they would rather play Campbell more than their third goalie. His 2013 Young Gun PSA 10 Pop 47 last sold for $115 US on December 15th. It is down about 48% in the last 6 months. If you want Jack Campbell Raw, it's a 2013 Young Gun Raw. It's last sold in mid-December too for about $22 US. Did you ever think you would see the day when Jack Campbell would be in Who's Hot?
I did not. I'm glad he is. He's going to need about another month of stellar play to get those season stats to come down a little bit. But I'm glad he's now performing, and hopefully, couldn't ask for a better time for Edmonton with Skinner having to miss time. So this is the time for Campbell to step up, and it looks like he's doing it. So good for him. I hope he keeps going because I like Edmonton. I want to see him do something in the playoffs.
All right, there it is, Troy. Struggle bus pulled up. And did you notice that the bus driver looked at Campbell and he was like, no, not me. And he was a little confused for a second. But yeah, and now I do got to say, too, we have a struggle bus first on the Hockey Cards Gongshow podcast. It's kind of a big moment.
I like this.
Connor McDavid, Troy, have you ever heard of him?
I have.
That's good because you're on a Hockey Cards podcast, and had you not, that would be a little weird, potentially damaging to our credibility. So there's no way he's on the struggle bus, right? He's got 37 goals, 46 assists for 83 points in 45 games. So no, we're not putting Connor McDavid on the struggle bus. But for the first time ever, Troy, instead of a player, we're going to feature a hockey card on the Gong Show struggle bus. And it is a McDavid card, and it's a biggie. McDavid's 2015 SP Authentic Future Watch Auto out of $9.99. Have you ever heard of that one?
I have heard of that one.
Okay.
I better have heard of that one.
Yeah. So that 2015 SP Authentic Future Watch Auto out of $9.99, Troy, on January 30th, 2022, so that would be just about a year ago, right? 2 weeks shy of a year. Sold, and this was a BGS 9.510, sold via eBay auction, Troy, or eBay auction, for $54,834.01 in US dollars.
It's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money. Big chunk of change. But, it's a player who looks like he'll be an all-time great. And just so anyone wonders, we did look at the sale, and because it was less than a year, it is in Terapeak, and it was paid for. So $54,834 eBay auction was paid for. So when I look at the Troy, I kind of imagine, now let's just say there's a conversation with the buyer that went something like this. Listen, honey, sports cards are rising. This McDavid kid's the real deal. And let's be honest, our daughter got her looks from your side of the family, and it's a toss-up if she'll ever get married at this point. Plus, if a miracle strikes and a blind man falls in love with her, the card will be worth so much more, and we can throw her even a bigger wedding. So let's go ahead and let's use that money and invest it in a Connor McDavid. We can't go wrong. Then I'm sure the wife looks at him, ponders, stares, and says, okay, John, if you know this is a safe bet, I trust you.
Was that John or Josh?
John.
Okay.
Not me.
I thought this was like a personal story.
No. This is hypothetical. Just to, offer a little context to the story here. So this morning, Troy, I'm doing some card research, as I like to do, and came across a recent sale for a 2015 SP Authentic Connor McDavid Future Watch Auto at a $9.99 BGS 9.5, and this one was on December 28th. It went for $10,600 US dollars. Ooh, that's gonna hurt. Looks like little Tina's having her wedding at Arby's now, huh?
Hey, is there anything wrong with Arby's? I'd love to have my wedding. How about the wedding and then the reception at Arby's? Come on.
There you go. So from that sale about a year ago, it's down about a cool 81%. Now, the $54,000 sale that was paid for, and we did look that up, was a big stretch, and I get that. But there's also $25,000 US sales, $17,000 US sales within the past year, too. So to go from that to $10,600 US dollars, I think you got to put the McDavid Future Watch Auto on the struggle bus.
Yeah, I just want to know, going forward, are we now adding cards to the struggle bus, or is this a one-time special?
I don't know.
Struggle bus that showed up looking for more passengers. Maybe enough passengers have gotten off of the struggle bus. We need to add some cards.
Okay, well, there's kind of 2 points I have about that. So the first one is we have heard from other people over the last few months that high-end Future Watch autos have been struggling. Haven't looked into that real deeply, but maybe that now that I found this might be something worth doing. And then I guess maybe my last question is, what goes on the struggle bus in this case? Is it the McDavid Future Watch auto or the poor soul that spent almost $55,000 on a Future Watch auto a year ago and now it's worth $10,000?
Yeah, he's got to go on. He's holding the card, just a sad face, holding that beautiful.
He's wiping the tears off the slab.
Yeah, that sucks. But hey, I mean, I know what it's like to buy a card and have it drop drastically in value. Not at this rate, or not at this magnitude, obviously. I am not buying a $54,000 McDavid Future Watch auto anytime soon. But we've all been there. I get it. It sucks. But hopefully it was just a buyer that really wanted the card and he's enjoying it. It's in his collection. I don't know if you looked at the sales to see if it was what card, if they were the same serial number or anything. But
no, I didn't go that far. My theory on this, though, is that I think that at $55,000 for a card that has 1,000 population, that's just overpriced, right? It's not so much about there's going to be people that say, well, see, the market's crashing. No, cards don't lose 81% of the value in the past year just because if the whole market was down 81%, there would be no hockey card market.
We'd be struggling.
We'd all be on the struggle bus, right? So I just think that, to me, $10,000 to $15,000 seems right for a card with 1,000 population. I don't know. And going back to, what was it? Les Edwards, right? And saying how he collects high value cards and looks for things, what was it, that are numbered 25 or less, or preferably probably 10 or less.
Yeah, he likes really low
long-term value will be.
Yep.
All right, we'll see if we do it again, but just a little cautionary tale there. Moving on, Troy. Last guy on the struggle bus, well, other than, I guess, the buyer of the card, however we're putting it, John Jason Peterka. JJP.
JJP is on the bus.
The 20-year-old German rookie for the Buffalo Sabres has 0 goals and 1 assist in the past 6 games. I know this isn't a mass show, Troy, but that's definitely less than 1 point per game.
That's definitely less than 1 point per game.
For the 2022-23 season, JJP has 7 goals, 11 assists for 18 points in 39 games. I just love saying JJP. I want to talk about him all the time, just so I can say that name. Another thing I would say, too, is for the good, the bad, struggle, not, boy, it seems like we talk about multiple Sabres almost every show. What a kind of an exciting team to follow right now.
Yeah, if you're a fan of the Sabres, boy, what else could you ask for? You got like 8 players that we constantly bring up all the time.
So JJP is from Munich, Germany, Troy. You know, I bet if the Hockey Cards Gongshow podcast guys try to pronounce it, they'd probably call it like Munich or something like that.
Munich. I've been to Hamburger, I guess, if we were saying it.
Yeah. Right now, JJP has been playing on the Sabres second line with Dylan Cousins and Jack Quinn. That's not a bad. But I think going back, didn't we have Jack Quinn on the struggle bus and him and JJP were both in the press box recently? So they play on the same line in the press box too, apparently.
I think so.
Okay. Hockey Cards. JJP Young Guns 2021 Extended Series. Is he the winner out of Extended, or would you Seth Jarvis maybe, or I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. I'm not sure. I'd have like I said last year, I gotta get my list out because that's information that doesn't sit on the top of my head.
So yeah, he's a 2021 Extended Series, last sold raw for about $13 US. This was selling in like the $14 to $15 US range at the start of the season, so it might be down a couple bucks or so. But so Struggle Bus is McDavid Future Watch Auto, not McDavid, and our guy JJP. All right, Troy, we're gonna roll into hobby news, and you are our grading expert on the show.
Yeah,
so we're gonna let you handle the big Beckett news.
Well, I saw this and my first reaction was, oh boy, it's grading news time. I can't wait. I'm super excited. If you are a previous listener to the show, you know I do not hate grading. I appreciate grading. I think it has a place. I am very angry at how confusing these companies make it. They change prices all the time, service levels, blah, blah, blah. Some of the websites... You
just love talking about it.
I just love talking about it. Some of the websites like Beckett seem they're still, even though they did update it kind of, it still seems like the process is stuck 10 years ago. But I digress. All right.
How do you feel about the grading channel added to the Gong Show Discord server that you have access to?
I'm just going to sit there and just chime in like from the peanut gallery, just, angry quotes or angry comments, and everyone's really like, just get out of here.
All right, Troy, what's going on at Beckett?
All right, we got Beckett. Beckett has announced new pricing and service levels. Now, I got all this info from their Instagram account because I couldn't find a press release. Maybe companies don't do press releases anymore. I don't know, but I figured.
Yeah, it's like Instagram's the new wire service.
Yeah, because I was like, well, I'm looking for a press release because maybe I'm missing something because it was like 5 images and I just went through them. And so that's where I'm getting all my stuff from, the Instagram post. So right now we have.
I don't think. Wait, before you start though. I don't think this gives any of the information you could tell, but I want to run this by you before you start.
Oh yeah.
Is the best way to summarize what they're doing? I would put it this way, and I haven't dug into it to the degree you have, but they just took everything that PSA is doing to make it complicated and copied that. Is that a good way to put it?
I would agree 100%.
I know. I'll shut up. You fill in the details.
No, I agree 100%. So here's what we got. All right, we have the collector's special level. $18 a card. $16 a card without subgrades. You can have a max declared value of $400. 10 card minimum. So this is kind of their bulk. You got to bulk it up. 40 to 60 business day turnaround. That's our first one. All right. Deep breath. Next is what they're calling the base service level, I guess. $22 a card. $18 a card without subgrades. No max declared value. 40 to 60 business day turnaround. Are you following so far?
Yeah.
Okay. Next level is the standard level. Base to standard. Okay. We're at the standard level. $40 a card. $30 a card without subgrades. No max declared value. 10 to 20 business day turnaround. And finally, we have priority. $140 a card. $100 a card without subgrades. No max declared value. 2 to 5 business day turnaround. That's what they announced on the Instagram post. Now,
okay, so here's my reaction, though, for a second. I may not know who Scott Young is, but I know a little bit about marketing and pricing and product positioning. These people have to stop overcomplicating this, right? I'm looking at it right now. You know how to make this so much simpler? Get rid of the whole without subgrade pricing.
Mm-hmm.
A Beckett slab without subgrades is stupid. I'm sorry. That's like the biggest advantage that it has.
Yeah,
other than
that's
a
their
BGS
advantage.
10.
Yep.
So don't give people the option to make your product worse, right? So boom, no subgrades. Then in only one of the tiers, they have this on their 10 card minimum. The max declared value of that at $400 is petty. If you get rid of that, then you don't have to, on all the other price points, say no max declared value, right? Then it just becomes $18 a card. If you want to throw the qualifier for collector special that you need to do 10 cards, then it's $18 a card. Then it's $22 a card for base, 40 for standard, and 140 for priority. And the only thing that changes is the turnaround time. Instead of trying to keep track of like 17 variables, people don't like that. Companies. Mm-hmm. People hate this. Stop doing. First rule of sales is find out what people want and do that. Nobody wants these pricing tiers. Nobody. Okay,
I will. No, I
was I preaching?
This. No, it's good. I mean, you're speaking to me. Like, I can't stand this. But when I went on their Instagram post, it was kind of interesting to read the comments because it's like, well, what do the people think? And obviously, you have people that are going to be loud and give them feedback. But so there's a couple. Oh, this is great. Blah blah blah. But a lot of it was like, oh my gosh, like what is going on? I still wish I could get my cards back that have been there for 7 months and a whole bunch of other stuff. And it kind of digressed into kind of a mess. So. Okay, so we went through those service levels. Now, just remember, too, there are other service levels that Beckett offers, next day and immediate.
Great.
If you need those, go look it up. They're expensive. But these are the ones that I believe had the updates. And again, there was no press release, just the Instagram post, so that's what I used. You can find it very easily if you look for it. It's out there on Beckett's Instagram page. So I said, at the end of the day, if you're a Beckett fan, go nuts with the new pricing. They did have another item they announced. Beckett announced a new packaging slip with a barcode that their team can now scan upon arrival. Then you get an email confirming your items have been received. Helps with that process, I guess. I've never submitted to Beckett.
That's good.
Yeah, I don't know if the other companies, SGC, PSA, I've done SGC before, and I think they had a barcode, or there's a packaging slip you're supposed to print off, and I can't remember what was on it. Anything to make it easier, I guess, go for it. So having a barcode that they can scan, and boom, you get an email saying, hey, your stuff's here. Great.
And I'm not trying to come off as an SGC fanboy here, because I'm definitely not. But to me, part of the reason why I felt myself gravitating to them a little bit are actually, there's two specific reasons. First one is they're crushing it when it comes to all-time high sales. And I think that there's a trickle-down effect to that, right? Where it's not so great with modern cards today. but that's going to seep down. And so if you can get a modern card on the cheap, there's a good chance it's going to go up, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the second thing is, I just feel like they communicate in the most simple terms and make it feel more simpler to work with them. I don't know if that's just me or if you feel that way too, or others do, but I get so overwhelmed every time I look at PSA and Beckett. It's like I have to figure out like which one of the 93 price tiers I need to select. Yeah. And then there's this max declared value and all right. Get emotional, Troy.
Yep, I know. I've been there. Again, I know there's people listening that are like, oh, no, it's super easy. You can always go through a bulk submitter, right? There's those. Yeah. That's another option if you don't want to deal with it yourself. Go through the bulk submitter. But just want to give that update on Beckett.
That is our grading update for our hobby news section. Want to move quickly into, there was a Goldin Elite, their December Vintage Elite auction, which is kind of interesting. Those only vintage cards closed in the last few days. There's 3 sales in here, Troy, that I wanted to highlight. The first is a really big card, 1966 Bobby Orr USA Test PSA 8.5. This card sold at the December Goldin Vintage Elite for $86,000 US with the buyer's premium. I would call that a little bit of a disappointing result, considering the card had sold twice last year, in April for $135,000 US and in October for $122,000 US. So to go from 135 to 122 to 86 is a pretty big drop there. But it's always fun to watch these really kind of huge grail cards and see how they do. Again, that was a Bobby Orr USA Test PSA 8.5. On the flip side of that, though, same auction, and this is going to kind of feel like a social media roundup because we did post about these, but there's a 1979 O-Pee-Chee Hockey sealed wax box that was BBCE certified. Try that sold for $198,000 US with buyer's premium. Previous high sale was for $144 US back in May 2021. I threw a little note in here. I always love now when the COVID records get beat. You get so sick of saying like February, March, April, May 2021.
Yep, agree.
That when we can wipe those off and get something new in there, that's pretty awesome. I think it was like a show or two ago where we covered the odds of getting a Gretzky in one of these boxes. So I'm not going to rehash that, but a moral of the story is don't open it. Right, I think you get like 1.7 or something like that. Gretzky, so for $200,000, and some people say there, well, if you get a PSA 10, it could be worth $1 million.
Yeah,
there could be 6 Gretzkys in there, and probably won't be a PSA 10.
Yep.
So that would be my retort there. What's kind of crazy though about this sale and why I think it merits a little bit of a conversation is when you start to compare it to, and I think there's a natural and logical comparison to the 1986 Fleer basketball seal boxes. 1986 Fleer, of course, had the Michael Jordan rookie card in it. I think most will assume that basketball, of course, is more valuable, that a basketball box like this would be more valuable than a 79 O-Pee-Chee Hockey box. But Troy, in this case, that is not true. The last sale for the 1986 Fleer sealed wax box was $102,000 US on December 4th. So $198 for hockey, $102 for basketball. In fact, the prior, 12 sales of the 1986 Fleer wax box have been for less than the $198,000 that the 79 O-Pee-Chee Hockey box just went for. So you're saying, well, so what? Well, the all-time high for the 86 Fleer basketball box was $362,400 US set in, we just talked about it, February of 2021. And in fact, this box has sold for more than $200,000 13 times since 2021. So the logical thing here, Troy, is, well, what does this mean? Some people might say, well, does it mean hockey has overtaken basketball in the hobby? I don't think so. It's a long ways to go for that. I'll give you a quick example just off the cuff here. We did a top sales of like Jambalaya cards all time in the last couple of days. And as I'm doing the research and you look for like Jambalaya and you see which one sold, I think the top sale is, like 5,000, 4,500, something like that of all time. Well, there's been like Jordan and LeBron, Jambalaya cards that have sold for well into the 6 figures. No, I don't think hockey is overtaking basketball. And I don't think it means that, and the other thing I would say is that, when you look at what's the meaning of all of this, you kind of compare, well, first when we talk about this Goldin auction, Bobby Orr, and then we talk about that really disappointing result, down 50%, right, from its previous sale or something like that, or at least 33%, where that sale, I don't think is an indication that the hockey market's crashing. I also don't think that this box of 1979 O-Pee-Chee is an indication that the hockey market is growing rapidly either, right? I don't know what to make of all of it, but I don't know. What do you think?
I think it's just cool data points, and it's nice to see. I mean, obviously, we're going to have some up, some down. I don't think it isn't. I do want to reiterate the point about, like, nice when we see something beat a COVID sale, because I do get tired of every time we read that, and then previous high was March 2021 or whatever. But yeah, just different data points. Let the people make the decision with the data that's out there.
So the third card I want to talk about from the December Goldin Elite Vintage was we did a social media post for this too, was a 1957 Topps Glenn Hall PSA 9. So it's a Glenn Hall rookie card. You can find more details of it in that if you look at Instagram or Facebook, and you can see our post about it. The card's rookie sold for $18,001 US. No PSA 10s, pop count for the PSA 9 is 6, so it's a pretty rare card, Troy. What really jumped out to me about the sale was that the previous record, albeit from 2018, was for $9,900. So it goes from $9,900 to $18,000. That's a pretty big jump, huh?
Yeah, it's huge.
Just a kind of a fun fact about Hall, or as I was kind of doing the research for our social post, is he is a Hall of Famer, Stanley Cup winner, Vezina Trophy winner, all that good stuff. In 1968, Troy, he won the Conn Smythe Trophy while playing for the St. Louis Blues. For the year the Canadians won the Stanley Cup. Not real often that the opposing goalie wins a Conn Smythe for playoff MVP.
Well, Glenn Hall, this is one guy I obviously knew who he was. He's a Hall of Famer, but within the last couple of weeks, I've actually been doing a little more research on him just to get a better idea of him, because I've seen his name pop up a lot. And just, obviously, we've talked about him. He basically was Josh, you asked this question on one episode. Who invented the butterfly? Who started that? Here's your answer. It was Glenn Hall. He's the one.
Oh, really?
He's the one that's most known for it. Glenn Hall is awesome. Go watch his NHL Top 100 Players of All Time video. He was fantastic as a goalie back in the day. And there's also videos of him just grabbing the puck and skating out with it and leading the charge up the ice till he hit the red line. Then he passes it off and skates back to his net. I mean, Glenn Hall was kind of revolutionary. Yeah, and I think personally, I overlooked him on our Mount Rushmore. I know I did the research on some of them, but I think if I went back and did it again, I might give him a deeper dive look at our Mount Rushmore goalies, because Glenn Hall is a fascinating figure.
Well, I just think a lot too about $18,000 for his rookie PSA 9 in the context of like all the other. If you think of all the great players and their rookie values, that's a lot.
Yeah, it is a lot. Like I'm not all that stuff wasn't to justify the $18,000 price, but yeah, it does seem like a lot.
All right, well, that's our little, I guess, wrap-up of the Goldin December Elite Vintage Auction. Troy, Upper Deck had some cool news that they just came out with, so I'll let you run with that for a second.
January 13th, Upper Deck announced they are releasing a set of NHL First People's rookie cards. Very cool news. If you've heard anything in the news about kind of Canada and the Indigenous, I don't know what you want to call it, scandal, just bad stuff that happened, trying to make it right, all that stuff. So Upper Deck made this announcement. It is a limited edition cards, honor and celebrate Canadian Indigenous hockey players who never had a licensed trading card. Basically, you read the press release. Upper Deck worked closely with the players, their families, as well as the Indigenous community to bring these cards to life and make the set authentic as possible. They are taking a kind of, I don't know what you want to call it, a very restricted distribution network for this. They are distributing the packs at Indigenous hockey camps, the Nolan Hockey Camp. There's a Hockey Indigenous Development Camp. There's also an Indigenous-owned certified diamond dealer hobby shop called First Row Collectibles. So that's where these packs are going to be available. They are also going to distribute them at games where Indigenous NHL alumni teams play. So they are having some events in St. Paul, Alberta with the Tall Cree First Nation. That's on January 13th and 15th. So today is the 15th when we're recording this. 13th was obvious in the past. And then, boy, I should have read this. The fans will receive packs at I'm not even going to try it, MUSHKEGOWUK Cup on February 17th through the 19th. And then the final.
Here's what I like about what you just said is that instead of just throwing these out there for sale, letting breakers and investors grab them, it seems like that they're trying to distribute them through avenues where people that these cards would be most meaningful to can get their hands on them.
Yep, that was exactly what they said. They want to make sure these go to people who really will appreciate these. And there's one more spot they are distributing them It is at the Little Native Hockey League tournament on March 13th through the 18th. A couple other quick notes. These First Peoples rookie card set was designed by an indigenous artist from the Alexis Nakota Sioux Nation, Jacob Alexis. And the card backs were written by indigenous card collector Naim Cardinal, who is a Cree member, who is a Cree and member of the Tall Cree First Nation. The players, just to give a quick rundown, there's going to be 8 cards. It's Dan Frawley from the Penguins, Johnny Harms from the Blackhawks, Danny Hodgson from the Maple Leafs, Victor McCready from the Atlanta Flames, love the Atlanta Flames, Rocky Trache from the New Jersey Devils, William LeCain from the Pittsburgh Penguins, Ted Nolan from the Detroit Red Wings, and Jason Simon from the Phoenix Coyotes. So that's kind of the rundown. If you want, go read the press release. There's some other stuff going on. They're having signing events at various places, but very cool thing Upper Deck did. Kudos to them and getting this set put out.
That is awesome. All right, let's move on. I want to mention, do a little quick PWCC mention. First of all, thank them for being a Gong Show partner and sponsor and supporting the hockey card community, hobby, and content creators. In previous episodes, we've gone over various hockey cards available in the weekly auction, monthly premiere auctions. But additionally to these 2 marketplaces, PWCC also has a fixed marketplace we wanted to highlight real quickly. It is more of a traditional marketplace that most people are familiar with. Cards are listed with buy it now and sometimes with sort of a best offer, make an offer option if you want to go that route. There's super high-end cards like, McDavid, Crosby, Shield Autos that are listed well into the 6 figures, even a couple over $1 million, I think. And then there's a bunch of also a bunch of cards listed for $20 or less. So I'd say, Trey, there's kind of something for every budget there. It's just another vehicle to find cool cards. We've also mentioned previously that the listings have nice quality pictures of the cards, which is, I think, one of the big advantages of PWC. You can zoom in, see the conditions, details, any flaws on the card, and versus card that's like half invisible or taken in the dark on eBay or something like that. You really understand the card that you're buying. And from a seller's perspective, sellers can list cards from their vault portfolio at any time. It's free to list, and the marketplace is active, of course, 24/7, 365. If you buy cards from the fixed marketplace, you can transfer them to your vault and not pay, I believe, sales tax or shipping fees, which is kind of a nice feature, especially if you don't need or want the card in hand. And so, again, we just wanted to mention the fixed marketplace real quickly and thank PWCC for being a Gong Show partner and sponsor. Go ahead, check them out at pwccmarketplace.com. All right, so a couple of days ago, we're thrilled to again have the opportunity to chat with our friend Billy Celio from Upper Deck. Real timely since he was a product manager for Metal Universe that just came out a few days ago. So we're going to go ahead and roll that interview now. All right, we are pleased to be joined once again by Billy Celio. You're a senior product manager at Upper Deck, or what's your title there?
Yes, senior product manager, yep.
Now, is this the second or third time on our show?
This is the second.
Okay.
You guys had a love affair with Tony for a while.
We miss Tony.
Yeah, and then I think I've been on. This is my second time.
Yeah, we talked to you at the release of Series 1, right? Because
yes.
I think that was your product, and so you've had a couple of bangers now in a short period of time with Series 1 and Skybox Metal.
Yeah, we're starting to get some products out. It's really exciting. I think we got artifacts coming out here real soon too. So you might have Tony back on in not too long.
There we go. So Artifacts is next.
I think Artifacts is next in the hopper. I don't have an exact date. I've given up trying to give release dates.
I got you.
Just because I can never predict what happens with our vendors and with the shipping. I know Metal Universe was supposed to come out a week ago, but unfortunately, because of all the weather and problems with mail service, we decided to push it back 1 week so everybody had it when release time came.
That's probably pretty smart. Had you gone a week earlier, I'm sure half the world would have it and half wouldn't, and then you'd have an uproar on your hands.
Yeah, there were a bunch of shops that said they literally just got it on Wednesday, the day of release. So we did what I did. Yeah, I literally walked the stuff over to people's shops. No, we did what we could to get it there. But as I said, you can't control the weather.
Well, you can't. I thought that to become a product manager at Upper Deck, you have to be able to control the weather. Is this news?
I do make some Marvel sets too, and I've tried to use Thor and Storm's powers, but unfortunately they don't. You can make cards of them, but the powers don't seem to work with the cards. people talk about innovations. Maybe that's the next thing we need to do is
there you go.
have, the superpowers of this specific person to be able to be used by whatever card you have.
Okay, so you've already shared before we get into the meat of our conversation that artifacts might be next. And I just want to reassure you that any news you ever want to break on our show, we're good. It feels good to get out new information on the Gong Show. And so I think you'll find that. So, maybe we'll like send you a bottle of scotch or something like that next time and get you loosened up before we talk. But
yeah, it's 9:00 in the morning, so I'm not sure how scotch would go right now. But
it's noon somewhere, Billy. It's noon somewhere.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so Metal is out. We both Troy's not here, but him and I have both opened some hobby boxes. Have a lot of questions to go through and try to organize my thoughts in somewhat of a logical order here, but maybe we'll end up bouncing around a little bit. And I guess the place I wanted to start, Billy, is did you have any specific goals or overarching themes or big objectives when you guys started to design the 2021 Skybox Metal Universe Hockey?
So Skybox Metal Universe, we built the set last year, and one of the things I wanted to make sure I focused on was like building the set to carry on for at least a few years. I mean, I'm sure we'll be building this for a while, but I didn't want to throw all the eggs in one basket for the first release in last year. So it was my intention to make sure I held back specific inserts that might be synonymous with a Skybox Metal Universe set and just kind of spread the wealth through set after set after set. That being said, I also then want the next year to be able to give my designers an opportunity to go from using that traditional design that people might recognize to then creating their own design for the set, put their own staple on it. So those are some of the things that I think about when building the set. Also, Metal Universe is known for its inserts, and I just wanted to add more variety to just the unique, fun type of inserts, technology, that sort of thing. I want Metal Universe to be more known as an inserts, set as opposed to getting a million autographs or numbered cards and stuff. I wanted some fun stuff in there too for the collector. It's not just there are definitely some high end collectors that love to get their PMGs, but I still wanted to make it fun for the average consumer also.
Well, I think that too, that's been a theme that you're seeing a lot in the hobby right now, as there's, different economic market conditions that have pushed the values of every market. But, in some sports cards, hockey's done particularly well in the last 6 months. So knock on wood that continues. But we're seeing more the collector story being brought back into the sports card hobby in general, rather than just pulling a card that's worth $2,000 or something like that. So, I know you built the set a while ago, but probably good timing in that regard to have where that's a big theme right now.
I don't think that theme was ever lost with hockey collectors, to be honest with you.
Good point.
I know like there was a big push and everyone's like, what's going to be the next big thing? And I think currently you're still seeing hockey cards in general from a auction standpoint still holding their value, still actually going up a little bit as opposed to other sports that, had their real hot streak where they were 10 timesing, every single card that they had. And now you're starting to see coming back to reality. It's still up. It's still definitely up from 2-3 years ago, value of a lot of these cards. But what's nice is for hockey, instead of seeing that huge boom and then like kind of going back to reality, you're still seeing a gradual climb.
Mm-hmm. So last year, Metal Universe came back for hockey. What would you say are the key differences between 2021 and 2020?
Well, I can tell you what I hear. And obviously, people are wondering, why don't you get an autograph in every box? And, that was definitely thought upon when building the set. The prices of building stuff and creating cards has gone up significantly in the past few years. And you're going to have to either cut some stuff or change things, the way things are done. And we felt that we could create some compelling content that doesn't necessarily rely on autographs this year. And I think we've done that with a number of our inserts. we've added a lot more different inserts than than last year,
Yeah.
while still maintaining the original kind of price point that we built it at. That's kind of a big difference. Now, people are upset. They see hits. There are people out there that their definition of a hit is an autograph or a memorabilia card. They don't see rare inserts or numbered cards necessarily as hits all the time. So, this set is one of those sets where, you get an insert and it might fall one every 2 or 3 cases, as opposed to an autograph that, is a lot more common. So that's kind of what we're trying to teach the consumer from this year to last year, is that these inserts have a lot of value. And one of the biggest additions to this year's set, I have to say, and I don't know if you guys have pulled one, I know I showed you guys kind of like the prelims of them, are the metallics cards. And those are absolutely gorgeous. They are, there's like a metallic rainbow film laminated on PETG. They're thick cards. When you get one, you know you got one in your hand. There's 70 subjects. So think about it. And these come 1 per case.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want that Connor McDavid metallics card, you have to buy 70, like realistically, 1 in 70 cases is going to have that card. People talk about the old inserts, like back in the day when the jambalayas and the platinum portraits and some of these other really cool inserts happened in the 90s. This technically is that insert for 2021. This metallic insert, and we're bringing it to some of our other Metal Universe products. But this is one of those inserts that should hold the test of time. And I think people right now, I've even seen some of the secondary market stuff. I don't think they realize how rare they are. I think they're underestimated. They're like, oh, I got this. It's 1 per case, whatever. It's a huge checklist at 1 per case, and they are quite rare. I'm not going to give you numbers or anything like that, but you're going to see the well dry up pretty quick on people that want these cards and people that are player collectors, or there might even be people that try to put the whole set together, which would be amazing.
I think that's part of one of the things I've noticed about metal since last year, and even going back to some of the more retro designs, is a lot of these cards you really almost have to see in person to appreciate. I remember until I had seen a jambalaya card in person, I didn't get it. And then I saw it at a local card shop and I was blown away. I'm like, now I love them. And as a Wild fan, I'm already trying to find a way to get a Kaprizov one, because I know that was included in this year's set. And so I wonder, when you talk about like metallics, or even another card that I have on my list to talk to you about, which I have never seen in person, is the Platinum Portraits, which I know is a super tough chase. I just feel like that it might take a little bit of time, just like with metallics, for people to kind of see them at card shows or see them at trade nights or something like that from other collectors, to really kind of understand what it's all about. Because like you said, it is a new technology.
Yeah. Jambalayas and Platinum Portraits, like I said, there's some iconic 90s inserts. Those are 2 of them right there. So we can't really ignore those inserts. Those are ones that people are going to want to collect. We try to create a new jambalaya design for each set. Sometimes we'll bring back some retros to designs, but as I said, I like to kind of give my designers their chance to put their stamp on some iconic designs. Also, I think Arena Design did an amazing job back in the day, and they've actually built some sets for us recently, and have come up with even more creative designs. And but they can't build everything for us. So our design team has done a good job of taking those legendary inserts and building their own. But like you said, like those Platinum Portrait cards, those are literally like laser. Every little dot on those cards is laser cut to create the face of the player. The jambalayas is a really cool technology, like you said, that you kind of have to get in your hand to really see how cool they are. So we want to make sure there's lots of color on that, because that makes them even pop more.
As you've been talking and thinking a little bit about, I would assume one of the challenges in working with Skybox Metal is the heritage is so strong on the retro side, right? So you see, like, even going by like secondary market value, where the 97, 98 retros hold premium value. And so there's a big nostalgia piece that goes along with metal. And so how do you balance evolving the set? Because it has to evolve, right, in order to keep the interest of the collector. But yet there is such a strong tie back to these old designs that it seems like a balancing act to me, I guess.
Well, one of the things that we did with the retros this year, we didn't want to have a Crosby or a McDavid come out every single year of those retros designs. Yes, we want PMGs of the regular base set. We want there to be a PMG for guys like Crosby, Ovechkin, and David. But the retros people we found were very popular, and we don't want to continually repeat the retro design for active veteran superstars. So what we did is we switched the veteran content of that insert to basically have rookies in it.
Yeah.
So now the retros will only contain rookies. And don't think I don't look at your Instagram, because I know you guys were wondering and asking those questions, like what the checklist would be. I know I think I commented or messaged you and said, don't worry about it. You're not gonna get repetitive guys. It's gonna be all rookies. So there's some content. I've already seen a couple big polls for some of those rookies, but there's still a whole bunch of other PMGs out there for people to collect.
Yeah, I agree. You can't have the same, because the 97-98 retro would be literally the same card 2 years in a row, and there would be hardly any differentiation. But what I saw that you guys did that I thought was kind of smart, and I'm assuming intentional, is when it comes to Connor McDavid, yes, there is the base and the PMG parallel to that, but you also, for I believe it's 50 players, did an alternate jersey card parallel to that has a PMG. So you do get the little bit of that unique kind of different. If you're a Connor McDavid fan, as an example, there's a couple options there.
Yeah, and we had to do something different. Unfortunately, there wasn't an All-Star game that year. The previous year, we had used All-Star content. So that was going to be the intention. But when you don't have any All-Star imagery, because there was no All-Star game, you have to kind of come up with some ideas. And, it's nothing that hasn't been done before. But we decided to use, alternate jerseys or, the reverse retros or whatever just something different that we could find, or a third alternative jersey, sort of to add additional content for those McDavid collectors or superstar collectors.
One thing that we've seen quite a bit, or a question that we've seen from people that I guess I kind of have too, is have you guys ever had thought to, or do you have any intention of adding maybe in the future on, let's say, some of the big inserts, some legendary players to the checklist, like a Gretzky or something like that? Or is that not in the plans for Metal?
So I know we get this question a lot, and it's not just for Metal Universe, it's for a bunch of people. I know on it's either Blowout or Hobby Insider, there's a huge Patrick Waugh fan. He gets so disappointed every set that doesn't have a Patrick Waugh card in it. But we have decided to designate legends for specific sets.
Okay.
Legends we feel should be kind of a high end set. Like they're saved a lot for our high end sets. They're saved a lot for they're premium players, and we want to put them in premium products. So I know it's frustrating, but a lot of times we will save retired players for specific products, and because honestly, our feeling is a lot of these sets don't necessarily need veteran content, as long as we're creating cool stuff, other inserts or other checklists with rookies, like top rookies or top stars and stuff like that, that it doesn't necessarily need the veteran content in them or retired content.
I think that makes sense, and it goes back to that balancing act, right? If every insert of every product had a Wayne Gretzky on the checklist, at some point it wouldn't be special anymore, right?
Correct. That's kind of our thinking, yes. I'm glad someone else understood what we're trying to say.
Well, hey, you can pay me. You can send my check in the mail anytime you want. I have a logistics question that a couple people have asked about, and I don't know if this is even in your purview, for maybe a little bit more on the fulfillment side, but a couple people have noticed that it's a 16-box case, that there's no inner case this year. Is there any particular reason around that or strategy behind that?
We always try to figure some stuff out when it comes to the configuration of sets. I think when this set was being built, it was one of those things where we just felt that people in the first set were going to buy, if they're going to buy a case, they're going to buy a case. Not many people bought inners. Another thing is, when I mentioned having to cut stuff also, those inners cost money. It costs money for the packaging. And so that is honestly one way that you can kind of cut back on some of the costs, is not having to have a second inner packaged in the box. So it's just one of those things that we felt this year it would be fine if we did a 16 box case, because we felt that shops weren't just going to buy a case. They weren't just going to buy an inner. They were going to buy a case, and then the shops could sell them from box to box. If they want to buy 8 boxes, they can buy 8 boxes. But we didn't like when we sell our products, it's not like we have a inner price for the cases. We have a case price. So that's part of the thinking around it too.
And I know that there's Upper Deck that you guys have specific rules for your diamond dealers around breaking, but I think a lot of those questions come from breakers, and the popularity of breaking is growing and growing. And to me, I just wonder how much of a consideration now, again, going back to the whole concept of a balancing act, do you have to give when putting together sets? Is it just purely the collector in mind that you think of when you're putting a set together, or does the breaking world enter your guys' realm of thinking now as you design the configurations of these?
So I'll answer this in 2 different parts here. The first thing is, we are familiar with breakers. We talk with breakers and kind of get an idea of what that price range for specific products would be per team for breakers. We definitely keep that in mind. Another thing to think about, though, if we're talking about this product specifically, just from a breaker standpoint, when we built this for 21-22, and remember, it takes about a year for the product from start to finish. So when this was initially built, breakers it was during COVID. There was a lot of breaking going on. People were paying, a lot more than they're used to paying for breaks, for cards and all that stuff. So maybe that number that we talk about when we're trying to figure out how much it would cost per team to break a case and stuff, maybe that number probably in our heads went up a little bit because people were spending more on breaking. So that kind of allowed us to then say, okay, well, we can just do a 16 box case instead of 2 8-box inners. But for your question about, do we think about breaking? It is one of the things that we think about, because people do, like, what's the case hit? What's the inner hit? What's this and that? We do have to kind of think about that stuff when we build sets, when we loop sets. So it's definitely part of what we think about, but we also think about stuff like set collectors when we're building insert sets. Are we building something that we want? We think about like what percentage of a set is someone going to get? Like, I have many columns on these build sheets that I have. And one of those columns is what percentage of the insert set do you get in a case? Mm-hmm. Are they going to get a full insert set in one case? Do you want them to get a full insert set in one case? Those sort of things. How many base sets are they going to get in a case? Like, all those things are thought about, not only just like what breakers want, but what collectors want. There's so many things you got to think about when you build just one set.
No, that totally makes sense. So what's I know it's early. We're doing this interview on Friday morning, and it just came out on Wednesday. But what sort of feedback have you guys gotten so far on the 2021 metal release?
Initially there was obviously some questions on the whole. How come I don't get an autograph in every box? But as I've seen more people, the people that hadn't opened it yet, the people that just saw the sell sheet were saying stuff like that. But once people have been opening the boxes, they're like, this has actually been a really fun break. Mm-hmm. We got some weird insert, like we got stuff like Big Man on Ice. When I said I saved some designs for different years, that's one that I'm like, let's bring Big Man on Ice. Planet Metal's another one, bringing back some old school designs. But then we've got some, Championship Galaxies, another one.
Yeah.
But some other ones like the Cheddar, like it looks like a piece of cheese and it's got holes in it.
Yeah.
And it's just like something unique, like something different. One thing that I was really excited about, you get like an acetate insert. There's one, the Championship etchings where or ice carvings. I'm sorry, the ice carvings. It's kind of weird. Like, if you look at it, you can barely see anything, but if you put it on like a white background, it's like, oh shoot, there's like another player on there. It looks kind of cool. But there's another one called the Planet the Pix. Oh,
You see my screen?
see. Yeah, and it looks kind of clear, but if you have like a white background, you can
Yep.
see like the blue very clearly. It's crazy. You got the Pix cards, which I think is hilarious. Some guy actually posted a video of him playing his guitar, like playing a song with the
Yes.
pick card that he got in his box. I was like, I wish our marketing department would have thought of that. Like that was amazing. So
Troy, who couldn't be here, texted me 2 questions like an hour ago. He's like, I want to ask Billy 2 questions. Number one is, had you seen the video of the guy playing his guitar
Yes.
with the Pix card? So that was definitely one of his. And then he's wondering where our Christmas card was. We saw lots of people posting their Upper Deck Christmas card photos, and no love for the Gong Show.
I got one. Let me see. I think I got one in my desk. I mean, I could show you, but this is on audio. It's not
That's
video.
Troy. I don't really care, Billy, but
I only get one. I don't get to determine who gets those or not, so I apologize. But yeah, so there's been some fun. So, you know what? It's a little bit of a bummer. Those were actually going to be a little more rounded corners, but to really look like a guitar pick. There's 2 types of guitar picks. There's the triangle, which is the one that's there, and there's then the one that everyone really recognizes that gets thrown out into the stands and stuff. Initially, it was going to get cut like that, but here's one of those lessons that people learn about cards is for die cuts and to put stuff into feeders and to cut them a certain way, it was going to cost a lot more money if we had to cut it a different way as opposed to the way we cut it. So it had to have like a full edge on one side and everything to put through the feeder and not hand spike them. And there's just too many of them. So we chose the triangle pick instead of the regular kind of rounded corners pick.
So that was a guitar pick inspiration for that one.
100%. 100%. Okay. Yeah. Like I said, it's an insert, have a little fun. Like we got our pitter patter.
Is that Letterkenny?
Get it. I don't know what you're talking about. No. It's a phrase that they use in Letterkenny. You're saying that because I'm wearing a Letterkenny sweatshirt right now.
I do, but no, that was it's on my list. It says Letterkenny, like right there. So
no, I'm a big fan of the show, and it's one of those sayings that people use that is also said on that show. Yeah. So it's kind of like I always love to give the enforcers a little bit of love. I've had some conversations with players when we do events and stuff, and they're like, "You got to give us some love too," because you don't see a lot of of those enforcer cards out there very much. And coming from Detroit, I've been blessed to see some of the best enforcers in the game play back in their heyday. So I have a little special spot in my heart for the big guys, the grinders. I think I made like that Gong Show grinder card in a set one year. Just give those guys some love. So like I said, just some fun weird inserts.
No, I can speak to I really appreciate the pitter patter, and as a Wild fan, you can tell the difference that these enforcers make on your team. So if you go back to our first couple months of the season, our superstar Kirill Kaprizov is just getting killed every game, and then the Wild trade for Ryan Reeves, who is on the pitter patter checklist, I believe, in metal, and it's all of a sudden he's not getting crushed out on the ice, and so these guys do have a big impact on the game. They're very important to the team, and I think it is cool, and that's another thing I had in my notes, that there's a specific card and a cool card, and it's kind of a tough chase too. I think it's 1 out of 75 packs you get one. Yeah, so
got to make them a little tougher. That way they get even a little more love. Because if you throw those kind of cards out like every pack or something like that, then there are the collectors, but the collectors for guys like McDavid, there's a lot more of them. So sure. Yeah, we made it a little bit tougher for those cards because we want them to value out a little bit.
So you got to tell me the backstory on the cheddar. How did that idea come about, and what's the just curious as sort of that origin story there?
I have fun when I'm thinking of insert names, and what I'll do sometimes is just kind of even go through hockey slang lists and just see if there's any new ones that I haven't heard of before. And the cheese, the cheddar, that one comes up all the time. Another one is like lettuce, but we don't necessarily want to like have weird hair ones. But the cheddar, I'm like, or the sauce is another one, I think. So I was just like, let's just make a card that, as I said, this is the perfect set to do this. you have like the Dunkin' Go Nuts where it looks like the Dunkin' Donuts thing. I'm just like the cheddar. Like let's just make a card that looks like cheese and put it on there and make it the stars. So that's kind of where that came from. I wanted to include some kind of cool die cuts. We got the big man on ice, and we threw the cheddar on that same form so we could make some more die cuts.
Yeah, there's a lot of die cuts in this set. Is this the most that have come out recently, or?
Probably, like we get different feedback about die cuts. Some people love them, some people hate them. But if you're talking about some regular sets, yeah, maybe die cuts don't get as much love, and that's why we kind of stay away from them. But for a set like Metal Universe that has some tradition of just having some die cuts, I felt it was important to kind of go back to the heritage of some of these kind of inserts and throw a little more die cut action in there. Again, I wish I wanted to put even more holes in that cheese, but from a costing standpoint, it wasn't going to work.
Yeah. Well, one of the funnier comments I've seen in the last couple of days is somebody mentioned that they can't wait for the grading companies to get a hold of some of these cards, and how PSA or SGC or whoever is going to find a way to put the cheddar card in one of their holders.
That's
their problem.
That's their problem. Yeah, they put mini cards in there. I mean, it's still like the right size card. So good luck, PSA.
Good luck. Okay. And then Amped Up. What was sort of the inspiration behind that one?
Kind of like metal, like I got the Pix metal like music, so it was just kind of the theme of metal. It didn't. I don't know if it came across as much as we wanted to. I don't know if the printing kind of happened the way we wanted it to. We kind of wanted it to look more like, big kind of like sound, sort of like sound waves almost. But that was kind of the inspiration, is just kind of make it look like an amp, and kind of going along with the theme of like metal music.
Mm-hmm. Another one that I think is pretty cool, and it kind of fits I don't know if this is more of a kind of your personality, Billy, but the neon icon cards, where there seems to be a theme with the cards you design, that there, in some cases, there's more than meets the eye. So if you go back to like Series 1 and the home ice, where you pull it out of the pack and it looks wholly different in the dark, right? Because there's a glow-in-dark component, where I felt the similar thing with the neon icon, where you pull it and it's still a cool card out of the pack, but then you get it in the right light where there's almost a neon outline of the player, and it really pops and glows.
I have a bunch of different kind of collection stuff that I do, and I like different kind of photos and photography. And so again, a perfect place to kind of mess around with photography, mess around with, kind of art photos would be Metal Universe. You don't necessarily want to kind of put that into a flagship type of set. So I kind of like how the cards look in general, with just kind of that duotone kind of feel to it, and then kind of like different aspects of the player kind of like just popping out with neon lights. So
I pulled a Austin Matthews here.
Oh, nice. Very nice. Yeah. So it just kind of has that almost like metal. It kind of looks like metal also, like just the card kind of has that metal feel to it. So that's why I thought that would work quite well with this set. And then just like the neon lights that people like have done with artwork. I just thought it fit real well, and I thought it's a cool looking card.
It's a little steampunk almost, right? Because like the photo seems a little more like old fashioned, like kind of like black and white, or it's not quite like a sepia because there's no brown in it, but it's a little. Yeah. It's almost like when photos are taken on plates, like that's how the photo would come out with. And then you have those elements, like in the case of the Austin Matthews, where it's the gloves and the stick and the skates have a neon outline around them. It is really cool. And I like this one a lot. So definitely wanted to ask you about that one. One thing too, I wanted to mention about more of the call them common inserts. So like the Amped Up or the cheddar, or even the picks, is that all these have more rare parallels to them that are numbered, right? So there really isn't anything that doesn't have at least somewhat of a chase to it, it seems like.
Yeah, I mean, there's the basic hits, but people do like their numbered cards and inserts. And if it's not going to be something like Jambalaya, if it's not going to be something like Platinum Portraits, and another thing yeah, it's okay to have like a numbered parallel, more chase to it. Another thing to mention about those metallics cards is there aren't parallels of those either. Like
Yep.
it's rare, and it doesn't need a 1-on-1. It doesn't need an out of 5. Like, these cards are rare enough. Stuff that might have multiple cards of it, we like, well, let's throw a few numbered inserts, a numbered parallel of it to kind of give it more of a chase factor also.
Do you see your guys, and this is me bouncing around a little bit, but I was going and looking through some older PMG sets this morning, and do you see yourself bringing back, like, I know you've had a lot of the 97, 98 retros, but what about like the 2015, like Fleer Showcase PMG design? Do you ever see other cards like that creeping into future Skybox sets?
Well, I don't know if you saw solicitation yet for our 22-23 Metal Universe,
I
but
did.
one of the probably the coolest inserts that I think we're doing is, and this is something for a number of sets where we've added, we're trying to add a little more artwork to it. We've seen the popularity of original art with trading cards, and so one of the cards that we did is we took our regular, like our Marvel design, and we actually had an artist create artwork for a number of the subjects,
Yeah.
and they're really cool. Like,
I've seen it, and I think Kaprizov is the one on your cell sheet, I
yeah,
believe. Yep. And that's based on a 2013 design, is that correct?
that's the 2013 Fleer Retro design that was made. Yeah, I'm really excited about that. I'm like, let's use this design because this is synonymous, but it's synonymous with Marvel. So let's make cartoons. And I've seen all the artwork already. They're pretty awesome. Do we plan on using other years? Yeah, I think in the future, and I don't know. Again, it's been solicited, but I think we're using 98, 99 Metal Universe next
Nice.
year for our retros. We don't want to necessarily use the same one every single year. I know we did this year, but
Yep.
we're kind of moving on, trying out some of the different designs also that I think will suit well with the set.
Going back really quick to the 2013 designs that are based off of Marvel, I did notice what I think is kind of a really kind of cool and important feature of those is just for that specific parallel, next year in hockey, there will be a blue PMG version out of 50, correct?
Yeah, because that's based off of what they do for Marvel. They have a blue one. So we stayed consistent of what that design was known for or is known for. So yeah, we'll have a blue. There are PMGs of those cards too, which should look really cool. I actually just saw one of the designs again, the mock-up for them to confirm this is what I wanted from the design today, and they look awesome. So yeah, it's going to be a really popular insert, and as I said, we stayed with the theme of what was done previously for those specific inserts.
Do you guys like rank your sets as far as, I know it's like asking Upper Deck to pick your favorite kid a little bit, but I'm just kind of curious if there's a sense as like where Skybox Metal fits in sort of the pantheon of all the Upper Deck sets, because it feels like to collectors, and especially with how chased and how valued the PMGs were last year, that it's really kind of quickly shot up there as one of the most important current sets. Would you agree with that, or?
Oh, its popularity is there 100%. Do we rank them? No, obviously flagship is flagship. That's one of the most important sets. The cup is the cup. That's a very important set. I'd say SPA is right up there. I think SPA won the Hockey Product of the Year this year. So all of them, we want to build the best we can. It is basically, but from a important standpoint, they're all important to us. But like if you want, the big three, if you want to call it the big four, obviously Young Guns, Cup Rookie Auto Patches, Future Watch Autos. It'd be cool if PMGs is number 4 on that list, but there might be some people that put Ice Premier Rookies ahead of that. There might be people that put Ultimate Rookies in front of that, or Premier, auto patches in front of that. So I know there's 3 big ones. What's after that is whatever people like.
We're going to debate that on the show coming up, because I think you gave some really good options. The one that I would throw in there too as a consideration would be seismic gold. On the secondary market, the popularity of those, it's always been strong, but it seems like in the last year especially, people are really chasing those ones pretty heavily.
Yeah, and I know the next one you were going to say was MVP Superscripts. So thank you. I built that set for a while too.
Oh, okay. Well,
I'm just joking. They can't see me smiling. It's a fun little. There are people that collect that too, but yeah, no, that's actually a great point. Platinum has gotten more and more popular year after year, and would probably give Metal Universe a run for its money. To be honest with, I mean, I think they're neck and neck. If you want to ask which one's more popular, I think they're about the same. There's a lot of Chrome collectors out there. A lot of people, like you said, like stuff like the seismic golds and all that. I mean, that's one of the reasons why we put 101 PMGs in there, is because the 101s are a big deal, and we've seen that through Platinum.
You were just had mentioned that SPA won the Hockey Product of the Year. I know that's Tony's product that had to hurt, huh?
Yeah, I have my 19-20 Hockey Product of the Year trophy for UD1, but no, I'm really happy for him. We root each other on. I was probably one of the first ones to congratulate him, because I had guys texting me who won what product at the Summit Awards, and so he won Insert of the Year last year with his Michael Jordan auto mem card. So that was pretty sweet. I was glad last year we were able to get one. So I'm always happy for his success and for my success, and we've got 2 other product managers now too in hockey. So we all kind of root each other on and try to get each other to build the best sets, and a little competition doesn't hurt, but I'm going to be the first one to congratulate him. That's for sure.
Okay, I have some. Anything else on this year's Skybox Metal before I have a couple random questions to throw at you?
No, I as I said, I think it's a fun break. There's a little bit for everybody. There's stuff for set collectors, there's stuff for insert collectors, there's stuff for high end collectors. So if you're looking for something like that, this is definitely a set you want to kind of dig your hands into. It's a lot of fun.
Want to circle back to Series 1, which came out, I believe, the day the Toronto Fall Expo started. And we had talked shortly after that. And now that it's had time to ruminate, I guess, in the market a little bit, one of the things that I've noticed is that, and we had talked about this in our last conversation, is secondary market sales on population counts are pretty strong. It seems like that collectors have really, that's kind of a winner.
I saw your post about the one that just sold for like $711 or something like that.
Yeah,
out of 25.
Yeah,
and I mean that's out of 25. There's some that are even smaller than that. Yeah, I love it. I like it. It's done everything I was hoping it would do, if not more. I know people wanted more numbered cards in flagship. That was our way to give them more numbered cards, or one of the ways. And I think they came out great. I thought our design team did well. I'm really excited for next year's population counts, because obviously they're mocking a slabbed card.
A slab card, yeah.
So we decided next year to put them onto PETG. So they'll be like an acetate card as opposed to the regular with the Light FX deco foil. So it should look even more like a slab card. And, we're keeping the same numbering. I don't want to mess with it. I think it's done extremely well. And yeah, I'm very happy with the outcome.
Now, I don't know if you remember when we had our conversation about it, but you dropped a little bit of a hint when we were talking about, I think, the McDavid Young Guns or High Gloss had setting a record at that time. And do you have any idea how many people have referenced that to us since then? Or do you remember what I'm talking about?
Refresh my memory, please.
Okay, at the time, and I'm going a little bit off my memory here, we had just referenced, I think, McDavid High Gloss had sold for an all-time record high, and you had said something very thinly veiled, I'll call it, that, oh, you think that is crazy. Wait till you see what we have coming out. And so the speculation has been, we keep hearing that there's going to be a Connor Bedard 1-of-1 Young Guns.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Okay. Because that's what, I just want to know if there's any little other hints that you can drop at this given. If you can't, you can't, but
no,
it's my job
I really
to ask.
can't. I just know that that flagship next year, there's a few changes. People will kind of see what those are with solicitation, but it hasn't been solicited yet, so I can't really mention anything, but it's a lot of positive stuff. It's
Okay.
a lot of positive, and I think the collectors will really like it.
Random question, but this one I'm really excited to ask you. What are you asked more about now, the Cup or Connor Bedard?
The Cup.
Okay.
You know, we don't really talk about it, and I can't really go into detail, but obviously there's a lot of collectors out there that are still yearning for their rookie auto patches of, you know, some top talent. So the sooner we can get those out to people, the better.
Did you see the poll we did asking people when they think it's coming out?
Oh, how many people said 2024? Was that an option? I'm just joking.
The winner was April or after. I know you're not going to go
Oh.
into more detail. I just wanted to see.
I can't.
I got
Sorry.
you. I know. I got you.
Look, it's just as frustrating for us as it is for everybody else, but it's been taking time for these cards to get printed. It's been taking time for these cards to get back to us. We want to put out a product that we are proud of. We want to limit the redemptions, and to be able to do that, we have to have all these cards in. So until that point comes, and it'll come, you know, we're gonna hold off.
Mm-hmm. Shoot, I forgot one of my key metal questions, so I have to go back to metal real quick. Did you happen to notice that it took all of about 3 hours for the Cole Caulfield Retro Gold PMG to end up on eBay after the product came out?
Yeah, and then what was frustrating about that was, like, if that one comes out, that's the end of the product. Come on, there's so much other stuff in here. The retro's gone. Yes, you still got his base 101 to come out. You still got other top rookies from that set to come out. So yeah, a big card came out. You got to expect it to come out. Yeah, you can build some hype. If you don't think a card's been pulled yet, or if no one's seen a card, yeah, it'll help a product, but that's not what we're about. Like, we put the product out there. Someone gets it in the first day, in the first pack, congratulations. I just hope we don't pull it in our QA case, because then it's like, oh no, there's the top card and we have it in our office. Luckily, I don't think that ever happens, but they were very lucky. Congratulations to the people that got it. That's an awesome pull, and there's a lot more awesome pulls in the set. So don't let it discourage you.
Okay.
Guess what? The greens will sell pretty well too, by the way.
Oh, yeah. And there's more golds. That's not the only gold. And I've seen a couple. I think I saw the Austin Matthews base gold is out there too. And more, those are just going to start to trickle in. But it is kind of probably not funny from your perspective, but
it's happened before when we had, gosh, I can't remember what it was, but we had like a cut card, and it was the Lord Stanley Cup, and it came out like the first day, and they posted it, and it's the people almost didn't even know what they had, and it's just like, oh, that's the biggest hit in the product. Congratulations. You know, it's happened before. And then there's other times like buybacks. The first year we did buybacks, it took forever for someone to finally pull that Sidney Crosby rookie auto patch. And when they did, it was months and months later. So, and you saw what happened with like LeBron, triple logo man and stuff. That's fun. It can, and you can make it fun. Breakers can make it fun. Shops can make it fun. If a card hasn't been pulled, the chase for it. But it's out of our control. You know, we send our stuff on to the distributors and just hope people enjoy the product.
Mm-hmm. How much are you guys talking or planning on the whole Connor Bedard thing? And I know he's not even in the NHL. He hasn't been drafted, but from a hype perspective, you can't deny that, and especially after his performance at the World Junior Championship, that it's Connor McDavid-esque or maybe even more, and it's only going to ramp up in through next year. And I would assume that has to be a big consideration when you're already planning probably the 2023 sets.
Of course, you know, and you have to plan for it. You have to, when you're building a set, we did this with Connor. We do this with all of our top rookies, where we're literally, and I talk about all these columns that I have on my build sheet. We literally will make a column, and I have one, and it says Bedard. And how many autos are we planning for Bedard? How many, you know, numbered cards and stuff like that? Like, how many Bedard cards will you hit per box or per case or whatever? You know, that's one of the things, because we know that people are going to be buying sets to get Connor Bedard cards, and we want to make sure like it's not like 1 in 60 boxes you get a Connor Bedard card. Like that's tough. So we want to make sure that there's Connor Bedard content in the set. We're not going to just make stupid randomness to just put a million Connor Bedard cards out there. That, then we're hurting ourselves because then they're not worth anything because there's too many of them. But we keep track of all of our top rookies. We did it with Shane Wright. We did it with Alexi Lafreniere. We obviously did it with Connor McDavid, where we kind of want to gauge how many different things we're using and how many different cards there are for a specific subject.
Yeah, it's going to be crazy. Well, and I don't know if you can even talk about this, but will it be the same Young Gun odds, like basically 1 out of every like 6 Young Guns in a box next year, or will it?
That never changes. That's not going to change.
Okay.
Yeah, we're not going to mess with that. That's what Flagship's for. It's one out of or you get 6 Young Guns
in a box
per box. That's not changing.
There are fears that people have that, and a lot of this goes into conspiracy.
Fears are crazy conspiracy people that are overthinking.
Mm-hmm.
That's basically what it is. I hate to say it, but there's all these people that think, Upper Deck's going to change the way they've been doing things for 20, 30, 35 years. No, we're going to Young Guns 6 a box. That's how it goes. Like we want to why mess with something like that?
Well, number one, that's why I wanted to ask the question is because you're right, to give you guys the opportunity, at least on our small show, to get out there and provide clarification. And I do think that in the case of Connor Bedard, one of I don't know how strategic this was on Upper Deck's part, but that there is the way that Young Guns are, or the configured, or the odds, or however you want to call it, is a really happy balance between making them reasonably accessible, but not like, and I'm not trying to be so critical on Topps, but if you opened up like Top Series 1 baseball, it felt like a Wander Franco rookie this year was almost in every pack, right? And it very, very quickly got watered down to that effect. So if you have you're going to get 6 Young Guns in a hobby box, there's 50 Young Guns typically in a flagship set. It does kind of, I think, have that really good balance between, like I said, being reasonably accessible, but not so common that it oversaturates the marketplace.
Look, if our vendors do what they're supposed to do, you're going to get 1 to 2 Bedard Young Guns in every case, on average.
Yep.
So, we don't guarantee anything, but if you just did the math right there, you got a chance of getting 2. And hopefully you at least get that 1.
Yeah.
So, that's something special about Young Guns too, is, hopefully you can get a case, a full set in a case. That's why there's a lot of people that buy a full case of Flagship so they can hopefully get that full set. Again, not guaranteed. I will state that over and over again.
Sure. But
we do our best to make it happen. So yeah, that's one of the unique things about Young Guns. And people are like, oh, well, they go down in value after a while. Well, more of them hit the market because more of it's open. Obviously, at the beginning, there's not as many, and the price seems pretty high, and it kind of goes down a little bit after a period of time. But then you see them start, once you kind of think it's been finished and open, or most of the stuff's open, then all of a sudden, okay, you can't just go on there and buy a bunch of Young Guns of the same guy. Then they get more and more, they start going up in value is basically what I'm trying to say. So There's a nice little kind of up and down that happens with Young Guns. But I think if we were to change those ratios or change the number that you get per box, I think that would greatly affect the marketplace. And another thing, I think way back in the day, one year they made like short print ones. I don't for specific players, I don't think that's a good idea either. We want to be like, if you want to collect, get a Connor Bedard rookie card, we want to give you a good chance to get a Connor Bedard rookie card. If
he's as good as people think he might be, in the case of like McDavid, where you look at the value of his Young Guns and even the graded ones, the pop counts are very, very high, but they're still valuable too. So it doesn't, you can have, I think between PSA 10 and BGS even, there's over 10,000 McDavid Young Guns, but they're still one of the higher valued Young Guns that have ever been produced. So it is, I'm glad you're sticking with it because I think that there's probably no perfect formula, but the current one works really well.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so before we let you go, I know you have to go soon. Is there anything cool or exciting that you guys are working on that you might want to bring up or, let people know about?
Oh, in other words, is there any secret stuff that you can drop some knowledge and you guys can? No, I'm just kidding.
No, you can feel free to do that too. You're always, like I said, it feels, when you get this stuff off your chest, Billy, I guarantee it's going to feel so much better.
Tell me about it. Speak of Bedard, I think pretty soon in the next month or two, you're going to see some more content for him in Team Canada Juniors and a CHL game used. I think those products should be coming out in the next few months, so people be really excited about that. Obviously we're working on Series 2 that hopefully will come out in the next few months. A bunch of new rookies that people are excited to get their hands on, and there's a lot of really cool inserts in next year's Series 2 that I don't think. Just like this year's Series 1, where people look at it and go ho-hum, I think Series 2 is one of those sets that solicitation sheets and screens do not do the cards justice, what they look like and what they are. So I think I'm really excited about this year's Series 2. I thought it's one of the best ones I've built. So cool. We're kind of excited about that. And as I said, Artifacts should be out the door. I got Tony right here. Tony, when's Artifacts coming out?
Tell him Josh wants to know.
Probably within the next month. Yeah, probably within the next month. There's your sound bite for you.
Sweet. And
it came from Tony. See, your favorite. Tony, they say congratulations on your product of the year. By the way, your product of the year, the SPA. It's Gongshow. We don't have the trophies yet, but he's
won so many awards he can't keep them straight at this point.
Yeah, he said you've won so many awards you can't keep track. We're doing our best to catch up right now, and you're seeing more products come out. We still got a ways to go, obviously, but the quicker we can get stuff out to you guys, the better we can get caught up. So that's pretty much where we're at right now.
All right, Billy, man. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate all of your time. We can't wait to talk to both you and Tony in the future. And I am going to say for the record, when I asked about the Connor Bedard Young Guns 101, you hinted no, but you didn't explicitly say it. So we'll just leave it at that. It's good to have a good amount of speculation in the marketplace. But again, thanks for joining us and look forward to talking with you soon.
No problem, Jim Carrey from Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah, great.
So you're saying there's a chance.
All right.
Yeah.
We're back. Thanks again to Billy for joining us. That was some great information. Anything really stand out to you? I know, Troy, you couldn't be there, and you listened to the interview earlier today. Anything, well, how did I do, first of all, and then did anything stand out to you?
Did fantastic. I really liked the questions and his answers on talking about young gun configurations for the next upcoming year and what they're thinking. I like that he addressed the cheddar card and the guitar pick card. I love the guitar pick card, and I love that he brought up the video that someone put out there of them playing the guitar. And no, I think Billy is very open, and he gave us a lot of good information. And yeah, I think anyone that listens to this interview can obviously see why they make some of the decisions they do. Obviously, you might not be happy with all the decisions they make, but it is very interesting to hear him give basically the upper deck side of why some of these decisions were made.
So when he was talking about Pitter Patter in the new Skybox Metal and how he was trying to give a little bit of love to NHL enforcers, and there's kind of the cool Letterkenny tie-in. And he briefly mentioned that he's done a couple other enforcer-based inserts, and I mentioned Gongshow grinders. And of course, we are the Hockey Cards Gongshow. And my little bird brain, as you're going to find out in a second, hears that there's a hockey card with Gongshow on it. And I immediately fall in love. Have never seen these cards. I didn't remember them. So we hit the stop button on the interview. And of course, I'm on eBay. And I'm looking up Gongshow grinder and find that this was an insert from 2014 Fleer, I believe it was, or Fleer Ultra. Right? It's a die cut, has some rainbow foiling on it. So I'm looking through all the listings thinking, oh, what's an enforcer? Maybe there'll be someone that followed or something like that. And a little bit to my surprise, but then as more I thought about it, not really, there's an Ovechkin one. So I'm like, okay, Ovechkin, Gongshow Grinder, I got to have this card. There's a bunch for listed in like the $25, $30 range. Find one for $27. The picture's awful, by the way. So rule already broke that rule. Well, that's probably the second rule. Immediately going like comatose over a card and falling in love sight unseen and having to have it. And then you find a photo that is literally where half the card's visible and half not. And it even says in the show description, it's like, oh, card's perfect, it's gradable. And like a little puppy dog. And I'm like, oh, it's gradable. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, must be nice. And I see 27 and it's like, well, I'm thinking, well, I'm going to be smart. I'm going to offer this guy 22. So I offer $22. I hit, right, make the offer. And about 14 seconds later, offer's accepted, which again should have been a red flag. Go ahead and pay for it right away, right? Because I'm getting my Ovechkin Gongshow Grinders card. And I'm feeling happy, and I go back. And, and then, of course, so the whole buyer's high thing starts to wear off a little bit. 10, 15 minutes go by. And I'm thinking about this card, and I'm like, really only half the card was visible. Was this super smart? So I go back and look at it. I'm like, oh, God, this isn't going to end up well. And then I'm thinking, well, $22, well, that's a good price, right? Yeah. Well, he was asking 27. I paid 22. Oh, I wonder what these are worth. Little bit of a hockey card buying. This is a pro tip here for very experienced collectors, I know. But normally you should figure out what a card's worth before you buy it rather than after you buy it, right? So I'm like going to our trusty card ladder, look for the card. There's been 3 sales ever of the Ovechkin Gongshow Grinder. And the last one sold in August for $2.
Oh, boy, this guy made a killing. This guy made a fortune off of you.
When you don't know who the sucker is, it's you, right? Isn't that how that works? So, yeah, I massively overpaid. But I guess I have it. I have my Gongshow card. Now it is OV. So, maybe if he scores 8,000 goals and then empty net goals in the next, 12 months, I'll get half my money back or something like that. I probably won't ever sell it. Okay to pay over $20, but it just goes to show you what happens. It's like there's so much emotion that goes into buying this stuff that holy cow, you think after how many thousands of hours have research into how to be a smart hockey card collector have we done in the last 8 months? And literally Billy mentions that there's a insert with the word Gongshow in it, and I go into complete idiot mode instantly. But so that happened. I also did get a Ryan Reeves Pitter Patter from Skybox Metal. I paid $6 for it, so I'm not worried about that. But I just kind of thought with him being on the Wild now, and I like Enforcers, I like Letterkenny, I kind of like the flannel back of the Pitter Patter. So I got that one too. So, well, the other thing, I guess, personal pickups.
There you go.
Right? I have 2 personal pickups. It's like the first time in months. So I'm so excited. As far as Troy, a couple other things that really quickly that stood out in the interview were, I don't know if you remembered Billy mentioned about the amped up insert being here. I'm going to show you this one.
Yes.
Right here that he said, maybe didn't come out exactly as they wanted it at printing. I had been staring at that card thinking, gosh, something just doesn't seem like it worked out exactly how they wanted to, because it's like got this kind of cool amped up foil and then it's on like a concrete slate looking background. So to me, that sort of made some dots connect. I just love when I asked him about the potential of a Connor Bedard's 101 Young Guns. And I wrote his direct quote down. He says, well, I don't know about that. He didn't explicitly deny it. I just think that that's funny. And then the other thing, too, speaking of Bedard, is, I don't know if you caught this, Troy, but he did mention that in the next month or two, there will be some more Team Canada juniors and CHL cards coming out of him. So it'll be crazy to follow what insane prices.
I just feel like you just want to keep poking Billy until he gives up the details on whatever that hint he dropped. Not this time, but the last time we had him on.
I'm gonna butter him up and go for the kill.
Like I said, we want to break news, Billy. We're giving you a platform right here. Break it on our show.
God knows we need it. So, well, again, thank you to Billy. He's always got fantastic information, and and I guess one of the things that he talked about was artifacts, and you have some more news on that, Troy.
I do. So the checklist for artifacts has dropped. So like I said, we are going to have, it looks like, another set dropping at the end of January. So this would be 2022-23 artifacts. Rumored date right now is January 25th. We'll see if that holds. Obviously, some things can change, but that's what everyone is showing right now. So what does that mean, Josh? That would mean metal and artifacts would be released within 2 weeks of each other. And I get it.
Nutty.
Well, yeah, it's nutty, but we've said this is going to happen if they ever want to catch up. So maybe this is one of those times. And is this going to be a trend going forward? Who knows? We'll see. They need to catch up. They're going to have to start doing these releases pretty close to each other. If you know anything about Artifacts, obviously lots of memorabilia cards, hence the name. And this is going to be really the first opportunity to get autos, patches, and patch autos for the 2022-23 rookie class, which I think will be kind of a big deal. Kind of a big deal.
Matty, Beniers.
Yep.
Patch autos, Troy.
Yep.
Rookie patch autos.
I'm all for it. We'll see when we open our box. Our boxes. I should put the pre-order in. I forgot about that. Anyways. All right. This upcoming release, there is a 250 card base set broken out by the first 100 cards are veterans. The next 70 are stars, goalies, and legends. Kudos for having a goalie specific kind of subset. I love that. Then there's the next 30 are rookie cards.
Well, and there are legend cards too, right?
Yeah.
Because remember Billy mentioned in his interview that
it's stars, goalies, and legends. It's like of those 70 cards, like I don't know this breakdown, but it's like 20 are the stars, 20 are goalies, whatever are legends. But the final 50 cards are rookie redemptions. Yes, our favorite rookie redemptions are back, which makes sense given the release date of the set, when the draft was, all that stuff. If you remember last year's Artifacts
50 rookie redemptions, though, that's a lot. 50,
yeah, that's a lot. But it's a lot. No one likes redemptions. Obviously, last Artifacts didn't have any, if I remember right, because of how kind of the delay that they didn't have to do any redemptions in it, if I remember.
No, but the time before that did, because I had bought when I first got back into collecting, I had bought collecting hockey, so a couple of Kaprizov redemptions for way too much money. But we don't need to talk about that. and then had redeemed them. So last year took a year off of redemptions.
Definitely. And again, this is all stuff you can find on the sell sheet, but there's parallels, there's variant, lineup is large, lots of colors, serial numbered cards, all that stuff. Top 6 prospects in the rookie redemption program will have a full array of auto memorabilia and auto memorabilia cards. All of the parallels sporting autographs or memorabilia are hobby exclusive. Saw that little tidbit, so just remember that.
Oh.
There are some new sets coming out, or new insert sets in this. There's the award winners autographs. This is kind of a beginning, they said, of an all-new planned living set, which will consist of veterans and retired players who have won a major NHL award. Each card is numbered to 25 and will highlight an award that they won. Not the first time we see the award cards, but just another different variation of play on it. There's also a new set called Game Ticket Artifacts. Each card features an authentic game ticket relic from a notable game in the career of an active or retired superstar player. Set is serial numbered and consists of 2 subsets, Modern, which will be 89 to 2021, and I should say 1989 to 2021, and Vintage, which will be 1949 to 1988. I'm curious about this set. That to me sounds kind of cool. I would like to see some of those. And then the Aurum Bounty program is back, if you remember that from last time. I think that's been a couple times they've done that. Or was it new last year? I don't know. Aurum Bounty. The Aurum Bounty program is back. So read up on that.
It wasn't new, but I think that it's a little, we're getting a little tied in knots, because if you look at the past 5 Upper Deck releases, there'll be two of the 5 will be artifacts.
Yep.
So it just feels like this just happened in a lot of ways, because it did.
Yeah, it does.
It did just happen.
All right. They're also going to have the Arena Artifacts set, which commemorates the historic Boston Garden. So that will be in there. I'm not going to read everything about it. And then also there's some other sets that are coming back. NHL Remnants, Top Tier Rookie Signatures, Admiral Impressions, Esteemed Endorsements, Signature Apparel, Story Scripts, Year 1 Rookie Sweaters. Like I said, the checklist, if you look at it, is bonkers. If you pull off the spreadsheet from Cardboard Connection, looks like there's 4,999 just different cards. Then you start adding in all the other stuff, and it just gets the print run. I don't know what it is, but there's a ton of different cards. I'll just say that much.
That's a lot of cards.
It's a lot of cards. And just I pulled it from Cardboard Connection. You can just download it and then see just how many different cards there are. They had
to design 5,000 different cards for this. That's crazy.
The hobby box breakdown is as follows. You get 3 hits, which are an autograph, a relic, and or a tech insert on average. You get 1 rookie redemption or clear-cut acetate. You get 4 numbered base and or base parallels. I'm curious, how do you feel about just you go in knowing you're probably going to get a rookie redemption? Is that a good thing, bad thing? I mean, it's a rookie. You might not get it. You might get the clear cut acetate, but I always wonder how people respond to seeing that a rookie redemption is called out.
Here's how I look at artifacts. That you open up a box, you're going to get lots of kind of cool cards, but it's going to be hard to get a good player of the cool card. Does that make sense?
Good point. Yeah, for sure.
Right, where you're going to have memorabilia cards, you're going to have number cards, but it's going to be such a roll of the dice if it's actually someone that would make a player that would kind of get you excited.
Agree. It's a good point. Looking at pre-order pricing, David Adams and Steel City in the U.S. have it at $139.95. And Cloughton Chara in Canada is showing $159.99 CAD, Canadian dollar. So
that's a lot cheaper than the U.S.
Yeah.
Right?
I think so. Like if you did the exchange rate, I think it would be a little bit cheaper for sure.
I might have to drive to Canada, I guess, to buy artifacts at Cloughton Chara.
Yeah, it's okay. Using today's exchange rate, it's $119.74 in U.S.
Cool. Well, good information. Anything else on artifacts before we
release
wrap
date
it up here?
Tentative January 25th is what we're seeing.
So before we go, I just have one kind of funny idea that, you know how I do hockey card record sales?
Yep.
Would it be funny as an inside joke if I did, how ridiculous would my Ovechkin Gongshow grinders sale look?
I didn't say it.
Previous high of 2.
I was gonna say something. I'd be like, you just bought it super high just to set the new high. So when you go to sell it, you're like, oh, look at this comp right here. 20.
It'll never be beat because nobody's dumb enough to pay more than that for that card. I won't do that. I don't want to manipulate the market. All right, that is the Gong Show for this Monday. Hopefully we're making your Monday a little bit better. If you like the episode, please leave a rating and review on Apple, Spotify, or whatever podcast app you listen to us on. If you love the show, and honestly, how could you not? It's got Troy. We've had skiing accident stories. We overpay by 10 times for dumb hockey cards just because we fall in love with ones that have our name in it. It is a Gong Show. Please support us on Patreon and join our out of 99 support level tier for only $5 a month. You can do so by going to the Patreon website, Patreon, search for Hockey Cards Gong Show, or find the link in the show description for whatever podcast app you're listening to us on, or via our link tree within our Instagram or TikTok profiles. If you're not following the Gong Show on social media, stop what you're doing. Go to Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, and YouTube and follow us. And finally, Troy, the Hockey Cards Gong Show podcast is a production of Dollar Box Ventures LLC. We'll see you on Thursday.